Hey y'all, it's Susie. Welcome back to my craft room. Okay, today we're going to play with a little bit of heat embossing and then how to make a tear ruler. So I hope y'all enjoy it. The heat embossing is something that's new to Joanne over at Journaling Adventure, so I wanted to show her how to do that. And anybody else who may not have tried it before. It's really, really fun and it's really easy. So I hope y'all like that. And I'm also going to show you how to make a tear ruler. Cindy wanted to know how to do that, and I think a lot of y'all would like to know that because tear rulers are very expensive to buy and very easy to make. So, without any further delay, I'm going to get started on this. I could not find all of my embossing powder, so I'm just going to use what I happen to have in front of me. I went through them the other day and gave Joanne a whole bunch of them, and I don't know what I did with all the rest of them. So, these are like the spares of the spares. So, anyway, this is just a little poinsettia stamp. And I just cut out like some tag shapes or some like journaling card shapes. But I'm going to end up making these a tag. So I just want to stamp this poinsettia on here. And I'm going to use, I guess, the red because I do have some beautiful red. Now all you need is, this is an embossing ink pad. You don't have to have an embossing ink pad. You can use another ink pad. If you have a white one, a yellow one, kind of an off-white one, cream, any light color stamp pads will work. Now, the only problem is when you're using a regular ink pad is the ink dries a whole lot faster than it does if you're using the embossing ink pads. If you want to change up your regular ink pad so that they stay wet a little bit longer, you can add some glycerin if you happen to have it on hand. If you don't, you can get some for, I think, $3 or $4 at Walmart most of the time. If you're across the pond, I'm not sure. But if you work quickly with the other ones, you'll be okay. But this has something in it, probably glycerin or something, that makes it stay wet a little bit longer. But this is not essential. It is not. As a matter of fact, my embossing that I've done in the past has been with the regular ink pad, mainly because I can't ever find this. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And all I'm going to do is put my stamp in there. And I want to make sure that, I get it pretty wet. I want that wet. And so I'm just going to kind of move it around just a little bit to make sure that I'm getting that good and wet. Oh, I need my piece of paper down. Sorry about that, y'all. And you want to put it on a piece of paper because you're going to want to save your embossing powder. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, when you are stamping something, it is not the pressure that you put on the stamp that makes your image look good. It's how long you leave your stamp there. So I want this to go in this direction. And I'm just going to put that on there. And no pressure. I just want it on there. And the reason that I want it to sit for just, a few seconds is so that the paper has time to absorb that, okay? And now I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to pour my embossing powder on there. So see, this, you can work pretty quick with this. It's not like, it's going to take you a long time. And so now I'm just going to knock that off. Look how pretty that is. All right. Now let's say I want to do the edges. Well, let's go ahead and make this a tag so that I can do all the edges and show you what I'm talking about. So I think I want to cut this like this. This might be a funny shape tag. I might have to take some of it off the top, but we'll see. Yeah, I think I am. I think it just looks too tall. Yep, it does. Let's just take some off of here. Make it more like that. That looks a little better, doesn't it? Not straight, but it's okay. It'll work. So now all I'm going to do is take this around the edges, just like that. Now, wherever you put the ink is where this embossing powder is going to stick. And I can, if y'all are interested, I can teach you how to make embossing powder. It is a long process. It takes a lot of work. But, these embossing powders can be very expensive. I don't even know when this one was bought. And it was $3.49 way back in the day. So they can be expensive. All right, so now I just want to take this tag and shake this off. I stuck my finger in it right there, so I need to kind of re-wet that edge. Kind of redo that. And that's okay, but I'm going to show you something. Now, if you have this here, you can wipe that off. You can gently, you can use the, end of a paintbrush. If you want to, you can kind of get in there with a little brush. If you have a little brush, get some of that off. You can adjust this a little bit. Now, where it's not inked, it's not going to really stick. So, I'm going to move this out of the way because I'm going to pour this back in my bottle. And you can use a blow dryer or a heat tool, whatever you have. I have a heat tool. Sorry for the noise. And you just kind of want to put that on there. And all we're trying to do is melt that a little bit. I forgot to put my board down and my heat tool's making that warp. Okay, now a blow dryer works, but it doesn't work as fast as a heat tool does, okay? So I'm just going to kind of move that if I can a little bit. Some of it's going to stick, and that's okay because it just looks nice. All right, I don't like these edges. They need more stuff on them. So I'm going to do is re-ink. I'm going to re-ink the whole thing around the edges. And you can put layer upon layer of embossing powder on. So, don't worry about that. You can just keep adding as long as you want to. So now I'm going to kind of move this down. I'm going to try to use this a little bit to my advantage. Okay. Oh, look at there. I didn't stick my finger on that side. I hope everybody's doing well today. I'm doing good. We have a beautiful day here today. Okay. Now you can work with that and get it neat and all that stuff. This is, really just to show you how to do it. Okay. So now, move this because if you don't, your blow dryer or your heat tool is going to blow your powder everywhere. So just remember to move that or go ahead and put it back in the bottle because this isn't going anywhere. Once it's on there, it'll wipe off, but, it's not going to not work because if you don't do it immediately. And if you have some tweezers or, something to hold this with, it actually is better for your hands. It's better for you. Let me grab some, just show you what I'm talking about. Watch me not be able to get my hands on some right away. Of course, they're supposed to be right here. Ugh. If I bump y'all, I'm sorry. Got like 15 pair of tweezers and I can't find a single pair right at the moment. Oh, here we go. Okay. So if you have anything to hold your pieces with, the heat won't get to your hand as bad. And you can hold it further away from your surface so you don't warp anything because you really don't want to. And I did just warp my mat under there. If you have a glass mat, then you probably won't have a problem with, you won't have a problem with warping, but, mine's just a self-healing cutting mat. So I don't think I'm getting enough ink on that bottom down there. And so I'm just going to ink it again. And you will be able to tell when this kind of melts and is right. And you can get like triple thick embossing powders and, all kind of special stuff if you want to. When you start doing this kind of stuff, it's like they have a million things for sale for this kind of thing. And I'm just going to kind of dip that down in there, shake it off because I want to get that edge a little better. I think. I don't think I was inking it good enough, and I think I keep sticking my fingers in it. So that's not helping either. But, I mean, you know, you can use a pencil or whatever just to kind of, I mean, anything. Whatever you have in a little eraser, you can use your fingers, a little Q-tip, you know, to kind of move that around like you want it. And then just take your, and like I said, I could keep going around and around this and, you know, build that up as much as I want to. Unless you're really good with your stamp, you get one shot, you know. And you can see where I stuck my finger right there, so it's not as thick. But I'm going to try to hold this up so y'all can see it better and see the result. I don't know if y'all, where's my camera here? Here it is, okay. So you can kind of see the shiny result and how beautiful that turned out to be. So that's just one example of how, you know, you could do that. This one, I'm going to make this into a tag too. Maybe like this. And the reason that I do this on a sheet of paper is so that I can round it up like that and pour it back in the jar. And just, you know, keep reusing it over and over and over again. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. I just, you know, back in the jar. Now, I'm going to clean that piece of paper off. I'm just going to rub it against a piece of cloth over here to get that red embossing powder off, because I don't want it to mix in my other colors. All right, now this one, let's see, this stamp is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. So that's what I'm going to put on this tag. And let's use silver. And I just want to make sure that I really get that stamp good and wet. And I'm going to try to center this a little bit. Remembering that I'm going to put a hole right there. And like I said, it's not the pressure that you put on there. It's giving it a second to soak down into the paper. That's what stamping is about. It's not about the pressure. Okay. So now I'm going to put a little bit of silver on that. And let me show you what that looks like before I heat it up. I hope y'all can see that change in colors. Okay, I hope y'all can see how that is. Now, at this point, I could do, you know, like a silver border all the way around it. I could use, you know, maybe red around it or blue or green or whatever color, you know, and that would give that tag a whole different look. And so, I mean, that's just beautiful. And it dries pretty quickly, you know. I mean, it's like you can go ahead and use it. So, that's just another example of, you know, using a stamp and the embossing. Put that back in the jar. Okay, now I want to do this one. And what I did, now I cut all these tags out of a piece of file folder. You make them whatever size you want to, fold folders. Okay, I just made up a new word. Okay, file folders work great for tags. And, you know, they're pretty inexpensively, especially if you buy a big old box of them. But this is actually the part that, you know, you can change, you know what I'm talking about, when you're doing a file folder. So you can let that be the front if you like that look, which I kind of do. Or you can let that be the front. So whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat. I think I want this in the front. And this says, what does it say? Wishing you a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. So that's the one I'm going to use. I think the stamp block's big enough. If not, I'll reach down and get another one. Okay, it is. So I'm just going to place that on there. And let's do this in, doing gold. All right. I think I want to clip this down so it kind of stays, if I can not let it interfere with my stamping. That'll be great. I just want to kind of hold that down so it, you know, when I put that on there. All right, so there's a lot of words in here and a lot of little spaces and stuff, so I really want to make sure I get that stamp good and wet. I just want to kind of center this right here. And I just want to let that sit for a minute. And because there are words, I did want to, oops, I think I might have moved that one. That might have slipped. So it's important, you know, when you stamp, not to slip. When you do it, you go ahead and get her done, you know. But let it sit there for just a minute and then lift it straight up. All right, let's do this one in gold. And, you know, if I was taking more time, I would really pick, you know, all that stuff out of those letters. But, you know, it's not that serious. I'm just really kind of trying to show you what it looked like. And I didn't even bring a little brush with me, and that's smart. Uh-oh, I just stuck my finger in that. And that's smart. Well, you know, you don't want to stick your finger in it if you can help it. And I think it's going to look all right anyway. You know, I don't want it to be perfect. I don't want it to look like it came out of a card factory. I want it to look like I made it, you know, so I'm not going to stress over, you know, some little flaws here and there. Plus, it's going to, you know, have embellishments and things on it anyway. Now, let's just heat that up. And maybe y'all can see that changing too. And see how beautiful that is? Now, I would probably definitely go around this edge, you know, maybe with the gold again, or red or black would be real pretty with the gold. I could probably, you know, run the ink pad across these raised pieces and make that real pretty. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. I do want to say this. Although the new and the year is messed up pretty significantly, I mean, you can't, if you were just looking at that and you're really looking at it, you know that that's a mess. But when you just look at that and you're reading it, you don't notice it. The human mind will make things and turn them around into what it wants it to be, what it thinks it should be. We process so much information every day that our mind just automatically processes things for them. So if you just look at that and read it, you don't even notice that that's there. And you can use that to your advantage even, you know, when you're embellishing. Just kind of maybe put a little poinsettia here or something like that to make it look like it ran into that. And then, you know, it just looks like you did it on purpose. There's so many ways that you can fix little blunders. All right, now I want to bring this little piece in right here. And I think this piece I'll do in gold as well. I'm going to do both of these in gold just to show you. If you have, this is just a piece of scrapbook paper that was left over. Don't have a clue what I'm going to use it for. But right now it's going to end up turning into be a journaling card because I'm going to use it to just really do these edges. And I want to do these like one at a time to make sure that I get good coverage. And this one, I can tell right now, I've already gone way too high on this side and right there. So I really just kind of want to gently along that edge. And then I'm going to put some gold on there because I've got the gold out already and I haven't poured it back in the thing. And you'll be able to tell where I took the stamp pad higher on, you know, as I went. And I don't stress over that. You know, I just don't. You know, it is what it is, and that's okay. And again, you can take a brush or an eraser or whatever you have and kind of clean that up if you want to. So that it's not, you know, way up high. And then I'm just going to take that. Oh, let me move that so I don't blow it everywhere. I almost messed up good. Okay, you know what? I think I want y'all to see that gold with that brownish color. That is absolutely stunning. I think it needs another coat along there. And I'm thinking I like that just on the one edge. So I might just leave that like that. Because I really, really like that. I don't know that I want the whole border of that. But let's put one more coat on that just to see what that's going to look like. And be sure to, you know, keep putting your lid back on your ink so you don't dry it up so fast. And I'm going to take advantage of that right there. Okay. And I'm going to look, see if I need to clean that up a little bit. I'm sorry if y'all hear my dog whining. The grandbaby woke up and he's wanting to get in there to him. Hush, Blitz. We'll go out in a minute. And then I'm just going to, move my paper. That's what I'm going to do. And I'll be honest with you, I inherited that heat tool from my friend when she passed away. And I inherited all the embossing powder. I did buy this, but I inherited lots of stuff. I didn't even know how to use it till about a year or so ago, until I saw somebody doing it. I actually thought the heat tool was something, you know, that you would use like in a garage or something. I didn't know it was for crafting until about a year or so ago. But anyway, that is gorgeous. I just love that. I hope y'all can see that gold on that brown color. I think that is stunning. I could go in here, and you can take, if you have the liquid that you re-ink this with, I think it's called embossing ink, and I didn't bring it in here with me, I don't think. But anyway, you can take a brush and dip it in there and say brush it along this little thing. Put your embossing powder on there, you know, make designs or whatever you want to. And then put your embossing powder on, heat it up, and it's good to go. And it just turns out gorgeous. Okay, now I brought this, well, let's do this one in gold too, because this has a lot of gold on it. Now this one, I do want to leave that just like it is as a journaling card. And so I do want to emboss around the edges of that with some gold. You can even use clear. There's clear embossing powder, and it just gives it like a shiny edge around it. Or if you're using, say, the red, you could go around on top of the red with the clear, and it just kind of makes it shiny. I'm just going to do these two edges to start with so that I'm not sticking my fingers all in it. Look, see if I want to clean that up just a little bit, and I do. Not much, because I'm not going to obsess about this. I'm just really trying to kind of show you how to do it. And you can make them as neat as you want them or as homemade as you want them. You know, I mean, just like I always tell y'all, do you. And, you know, whatever you decide is cool. It's really cool. Let's try to do this where you can see it. Sorry about the noise, but it kind of goes with it. I want y'all to see how that changes colors, you know, how there's a big change in that. And you don't even need to be that close. I mean, you can hold it back. And just don't burn yourself. That's the main thing. Because even with the blow dryer, it gets hot and it can burn you if you're, you know, just blasting it towards your skin. So try to hold it away from wherever your hand is. You can always move the piece around. You don't have to burn yourself to do it. And like I said, you can do it in small batches. You don't have to do, you know, all the edges at one time. Okay. So that is going to make a beautiful journaling card. I mean, it really, really is. And so I would probably go around that with another layer. Or maybe not. Maybe I like it like that on that particular card. Okay. So then I'm going to do these two edges real quick. Oh, I did those pretty good, looks like. Okay. Move that back out the way. Heat this up. And dang if I didn't stick my finger in it anyway. Oh, I'm such a mess. Just call me Messy Marvin. Okay, now as you can see where I stuck my finger, you know, it didn't really stick, of course, because I rubbed it off. If I were to leave it like that, nobody would ever notice it. I could put an embellishment there to cover it up. I mean, no big deal. You know, you just use what you got. I mean, you don't have to just be obsessive about it. Like I said, the human eye will fill in any gaps that you have. Trust me, it will. I mean, I'm looking at this card from a distance, and I just looked up, and I knew it said Happy New Year down there. You know, I didn't notice that it was a mess. Your human eye, I promise you, fills in stuff. It's when you really take a close look at it, and that's why we become obsessive about what we're doing in our crafting lives, is because we're looking at it up close, and we see it, and we know that everything is supposed to be cleaned out and perfect. But if somebody else were to make it, and you weren't just studying it, you would not notice what we call our errors or whatever. Because our minds just don't work that way. They want to automatically fill in any gaps that are there. So, now on this one, I think I want to do, oh, I hope I didn't knock y'all too much. I'm going to do this one in silver. I like the blue on here. I think it's really striking. I think the silver around it will just be amazing. So let's try to do that. Let's see, what is that? That's black. I could use black. No, let's not do black. Let's do silver. All right, so now with this one, I'm just going to take this around the edges, and I'm going to do one edge at a time, and maybe I won't stick my finger in it. And I tried to make that a little heavy, so we'll see. We'll see if I succeeded. Okay. Well, I didn't really succeed, but that's okay. So let me move this over. You know what, now that I see how this turned out, I'm glad it didn't go heavy, because I really like that jagged look in there. I'm hoping y'all can see that in this light. That really is striking. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other three sides real quick, and then we're going to call it a day with the embossing, and I'll move on to the tear ruler. Yeah, I really liked how that jagged edge looked. So hopefully I'm going to achieve the same thing all the way around. Guess I better put some embossing powder on it to make it work. Okay. I think I do want to clean that little edge up just a little. It's kind of high compared to the rest. Now, as I was telling you, this dries really fast. I mean, you can touch it, you know, within seconds. The problem is your paper gets really hot, and your paper can scorch you. So, you know, just, you know, give it 20 seconds or so before you even try to touch your paper. Okay, so that's that edge. Now that one's not as jagged as that, but I think it's going to be okay. We'll see when we get all the way around. I'm trying to hurry. You know, I know this is like watching hair grow now that you've seen it done. You're like, okay, move on. Well, I'm not quite ready to move on. I do want to finish this edge. See, everything I don't finish now, then I have to go back and pull everything back out. You know, and I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. I don't mind fixing some, but, you know, you don't want every piece to have to be worked on again. That is looking so pretty. Well, that looks pretty. Now, I will caution you. I'm an ironer. I iron everything. Once you've embossed, you don't really want to iron unless you are going to, use some parchment paper or something, because it will continue to melt this, and you really don't want to do that. So, whatever ironing you have to do it ahead of time. And then if you're, when you're embossing, it tries to curl up like mine just did. Go ahead and just immediately work it out while it's warm, not hot. You don't burn yourself. Work it out while it's warm, and kind of flatten it out, and it'll work well for you. All right, and you can stick it under, something heavy, some books or whatever you've got. Okay, last side, and then we're going to move on to the tear ruler. Okay, now, another thing I want to tell you is the longer that you heat that, the more even it will become. I didn't heat it for a really long time, and so I've got what looks like pitted edges, which is what I really wanted on this piece. I didn't want a nice, solid, aluminum look. I really wanted that kind of ragged edges. I do think I need to go back over that again, but I heated this up a little bit longer. Now, there is like a fine line between getting it to melt and heating it for too long. All right, right here, you can see where I heated it too long, and it starts getting kind of a marbly effect to it, which is pretty if that's the look you're going for. So play around with how much heat that you really want to use. It's never, ever, ever going to look the same twice. But I think the piece turned out really striking. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think about this heat embossing. It's a lot of fun. It really changes things up. You can use it for special occasion. You can use it for a regular journal. I mean, anything that you kind of want to dress up a little bit, you got it. All right, now, excuse me just a minute while I either beat my dog, which I won't do, or let him out. I think I'll just let him out. That seems to be the best one. Hold on just a second. Oh, my goodness. Yes, I stepped on some bubble wrap, and that's what y'all heard popping. That wasn't my bones, thank God. Okay, now, to make a tear ruler, in the United States, at my dollar store anyway, I can get these rulers, these plastic rulers. They're real flexible. And there's, I think, 3 in a pack for $1. These will work. These will absolutely work. Then you can get a better ruler, better quality ruler, like this. Let me take it out the package. And this one is much more rigid. And this is actually a magnifying ruler. You put it down and it's supposed to magnify it. Well, this is a much better ruler than this. So, think about what you want. And if your Dollar Tree or Dollarama or Dollar whatever doesn't have the thick ones, the thin ones will work. I mean, you can see how much more flexible that is than this. I would recommend, if 3 of these is $1 and you can get a good quality one for $1, I would go with this one. I did happen to find this at Dollar Tree. It's the first time I've ever seen it there, and so I went ahead and picked it up. Or you can probably get a little better quality one, like at Walmart or one of the other retail stores for $1 or around $1, maybe 97 cents or something. So, if you wear glasses, now would be a good time to put them on. If you don't, safety glasses would be helpful, or to be really, really careful. Excuse me while I took a sip. I'm choking up a little bit. All right. Now, you just want to get a pair of like needle nose pliers or something like that. And for those of you who are jewelry makers, y'all probably have these round looking ones. These will work, but I don't recommend them for what we're fixing to do. these are better, and I'm going to demonstrate. All right, so let's say we want a tear ruler that just has, you know, just little edges. All you're going to do is come in and be careful, watch your eyes, and just snap that out. Just snap out just little pieces every so often, just little tiny pieces. And sometimes these pop, so, you know, be careful. And you go all the way down the side of your ruler, just, you know, random places. Don't try to go to specific measurements. You don't want all of them to be exactly the same size. You just kind of want them to, you know, you don't want to make them too big, and, you know, you don't want to make them too, just, you know, figure out what you want to do. Now, with the thicker rulers, you really get some popping going on with your plastic. So even outside is the best place to do these. But that's all you have to do all the way down the tear ruler. And it does take a little bit of time to do, but once you do it, you have it from now on. With these thin ones, when you're going to tear, let's say you're going to tear this way, or you turn it around, you're going to tear it this way, depending on whether you're right-handed or left-handed. When you tear, you really have to hold this ruler down because it's flexible. And so then you move your hand down, you tear some more, and you move your hand down, you tear some more. You really have to hold these down tight because it's just so flexible that when you go to tear, and if you're not holding it down tight, you're not going to get an even tear. So just keep that in mind with these that are really, really flexible. Just work your way all the way down. Now we still have a straight side. What do we want to do with this? Let's make a really jagged ruler, okay? So then I want to just go in a little bit deeper and pull out some pieces. And don't go too close to that, or you're going to end up with, you know, just one big long mess. Uh-oh, I think I did. Yep, I think I got too close. Yep. But that's okay. Let's go down here a little bit. There we go. And these flexible ones are a little bit harder to work with when you're making a big jagged edge than if you're using, you know, a more sturdy ruler, because these do want to just like kind of run into each other a lot. And, you know, you can make big chunks out. You can take little chunks out, whatever you want. See, I mean, it doesn't have to be all even. And I'm just going to show you what the difference is in these, you know, and what the paper would look like. Uh-oh. I really messed that one up, didn't I? And it's okay. You know, it's okay, because you want your paper to look jagged. You want it to look old and kind of funky. So don't, you know, you can buy the tear rulers. You can even get sets of them. But if you talk to most people, they don't use them. So, you know, until you know, figure out whether you're really going to use it or not, I wouldn't invest in the, you know, in those expensive ones that they have. You know, just make you one for $1 or less and see if you're really, really going to use it. So just to keep, you know, y'all from watching Hair Girl, I'm going to show you kind of what this looks like when I tear it. Now, remember I told you, you really, really, really have to hold this ruler down, you know, so that you don't pull it up. Now this, because I'm going this way, I'm probably going to move my hand anyway. So I'm just going to grab this piece and start tearing. And I already felt my ruler start to move down here, so I'm going to move my hand down a little bit. All right, now look at that edge. And y'all might think, well, that doesn't look so special. But watch what happens when I ink that edge. That's when it becomes special. Look at that edge. Is that not good? I mean, that's delicious. I mean, seriously, that is just wonderful. That would make a gorgeous, gorgeous journal piece. You know, page, edge. I mean, it looks like an old piece of paper that you found somewhere, you know, that has finished stuff on it. All right, now the other one, I haven't made such a big, I could just, I guess, keep going for a little bit. You know, but it doesn't matter. I can show you on a smaller piece of paper, and then you kind of get the idea. But I just didn't want y'all to have to sit here and watch me break all the way down this ruler, because it, you know, I mean, does take a little bit. I mean, I guess we could sit and chat about it if you wanted to. Uh-oh. See, I made that one a little bigger. And it's okay. It's okay. Like I said, you know, you don't want an even piece of paper. You don't want every little piece that you take out to look the same. You want them to look a little different. You want them to look a little jaggedy. You might not want them as severe as that, and that's why you do the smaller one. So let me just cut a piece of paper. Let's see if that's too long. Yeah, that's still a little bit too long. All right. Let me just show you what this will look like. And, you know, if I would continue all the way down, of course, you know, to make a full ruler. But just so you don't have to watch, I'm going to hold this down real tight because this is that flexible ruler. Okay? And that's your small edge compared to the big edge. So I'm going to ink this up so you can see kind of what that looks like inked up. Oh, kind of went heavy on the ink there, but that's okay. It's just for ideas anyway, to show y'all kind of how this turns out looking. Doesn't that look cool? I just love it, you know. If you don't like your inking on that side, you can flip this over and kind of ink this a little bit. Because it's going to have a deckled edge on both sides. So, of course, one side will be more so than the other, but that's a little lighter. Isn't that cool? I just love it. I just think it looks great. And so that's how you make a tear ruler, and that's how you do embossing. And you can save a whole bunch of money on your tear ruler. Again, if y'all want to know how to make embossing powder, I can teach you that. If you need to know more about inks, you know, I can help you with that, how to make them. I did a video on that, how to hydrate them. I recently learned, I think I said that, or maybe I didn't say this is the second time making this video, but I recently said that you can use the glycerin. I did say that, I think. You can use the glycerin to put on your ink to make it stay wetter longer. So if you buy actual distress ink and it's starting to go kind of dry on you, you can spray it with the water. But if you put 1 drop of glycerin in that water and spray it, then it will keep it a little bit wet longer instead of drying out so quickly too. So that's just an idea. So these are our tear ruler examples. And here's our pieces that we made with the heat embossing. And, of course, y'all know about the embossing folders and embossing tools, so that's different than the heat embossing. But here's the pieces that we made today. Let me turn on the light, see if that'll help. Oh, that helps a little bit. And I think they look absolutely beautiful. So, I hope y'all enjoyed this as much as I do. I love playing and having fun. And now I've got some more pieces to put in my stash. I will finish these up, you know, like I talked about earlier. And I will go ahead and finish my tear ruler. But I hope y'all enjoyed that. If y'all have any questions or comments, please leave them below. As a matter of fact, leave me a comment. Let me know whether you enjoyed this, didn't like it. If you have extra tips for me, I love extra tips. I love, you know, finding out easier ways to do things if there are some. Thank you all to my subscribers for being here. Whether you're new or old, I appreciate you being here. And if you're visiting, thank you for stopping by. I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel and everybody hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Please, please, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps. And leave me a comment. Let me know if you enjoyed this, if, you know, this was something you already knew and didn't care to see again. If, you know, or a better way to do it. I'm always open for that. Okay, I love you all. Blessings and hugs to everybody, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye.